So the device I'm going to show you now is called the Onyx PhD Desktop Video Magnifier. The Onyx video magnifiers come in several forms. The one I'm showing you is the PhD form, the P standing for portable, the HD standing for high definition HD. So the camera, this is the Onyx PhD itself. You can connect to a number of devices, so a number of monitors, in order to get the image. So I've got it connected to a laptop, which is running something called the GEM software, which is what you need in order to view the image on your laptop or on any computer. But you can actually connect the camera just to a monitor if you wanted to, and use it very much like a standalone desktop video magnifier. Once connected to the laptop, it just connects with one USB cable, so it's really, really simple to set up. You just launch the software, which is what I've done here, and then it gives you the live image on the screen. So the camera is sat at the end of this arm of the device itself, and then, as I mentioned before, it gives you a live image on the screen. Once it's connected to a computer, there's actually two ways you can operate the camera. You can use a series of keystrokes from the computer if you wanted to, or you can use the remote control, which is connected again just via one cable to the back here. And I'm going to focus on the remote control first of all. So the remote control here, I think, has very tactile and intuitive buttons on it. So just to run through the basics here, you've got a power button, you've got what I technically call a zoomy outy button. What this does, if you press and hold it, it will zoom you to ×1 level, so that you can then reorientate the view or reorientate the focus of the camera, and then when you release the button, which I'm going to do now, it will go back to the original level of magnification. We also have a rotate button, which is just here. If you press it once and twice, 3 times, and 4 times, it's just going to cycle through rotating the image, mainly because the camera here, as you rotate the camera, it's going to rotate the image. So that means that you can rotate things around to get them the right way up. Next to that, we have our colour contrast button. So again, you can change the colour contrasts of the image of the live view depending on what suits the user. So we've got almost like an HD type colour contrast here, but if I go through, we've got black on white. What I'm going to jump to quickly, just because I can see we've got some what I call foxing or some ghosting of text here, is we have a brightness rocker switch. So the bottom of the rocker switch will make the image darker and the top will make it brighter. That's because this device doesn't have its own light source, so it's very much dependent on the light around it. So in order to get clear contrast in the higher contrast colour contrast settings, you may need to play around with the brightness button a bit. So I can see that we've got, as I mentioned, some writing that's almost ghosting a little bit around here. So in order to adjust that, I'll show you what the two ends do. If I press and hold the darkness, it's going to make that worse. But if I press and hold the brightness, it's going to sharpen up the image for you. And there's a nice sharp black on white contrast. Next to the brightness rocker switch, we have our magnification rocker switch. So the top of it is going to enlarge, increase our magnification, and the very bottom of it is going to decrease our magnification. This will actually go up to ×60 as a magnification level. Starts at a ×1. That's because you can also use it in a distance mode. So you can use it at quite a strong distance. The camera is incredibly powerful. So you can use it at quite a far distance in order to focus it on something like a whiteboard or a presentation that's happening at the far end of the room, and magnify in without losing any clarity of the image. So just to demonstrate, you could keep magnifying and magnifying and magnifying if you wanted to. We've got 2 more buttons just at the bottom here. We've got a freeze frame, so you can use it to freeze the image on the screen, so that then this paper could be taken away and used by somebody else. And again, because it's connected to a computer here, I could save that image to my computer, or we actually have an SD card slot built into the side of the device here, and you can save the images to the device. We also have a focus freeze button, and what that means, this camera is always going to focus on whatever's closest to it. which is great if you just want to read things. But if you are using your hand underneath, it's going to try and focus on the top of your hand. So if you're a student that's doing some manual work, or if you're a student that's writing, you will want to freeze the focus so that it is no longer trying to focus on the top of your hand, but it's just remains focused on the page and whatever it is that you're doing. We also have a few buttons hidden underneath the little cover there, and they're hidden just so that they're not knocked by mistake. And these add in things like reading lines and reading curtains. So what the reading lines do is enable you to put a line across the screen. Because you're using the page or moving the page when reading left to right, the reading lines enable you to stay on the right line and then easily navigate to the next line. And the curtains do exactly the same thing, but instead block off the screen for you. The arrows underneath each of those just adjust where the lines are and where the curtains are on the screen, so you can hone in on the text that you want to focus on. But that's the Onyx PhD in a nutshell with the remote control. I will just mention, as I mentioned before, that you can use all of these controls but drive them from the keyboard of the computer if you have it connected to a computer, and they've made it very straightforward to remember the keystrokes by anchoring all of them with the F12 key. So all you have to do is press F12 plus V for things like changing the view, or F12 plus C to do things like change the colour contrasts. But that's the Onyx PhD desktop video magnifier.